Warning: the following program contains explicit content, outrageous opinions, and untrained professionals. It is intended only for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to your uncensored home for World of Warcraft with your hosts, Berzerker and Navox. This is Unshackled Fury.
The Classic Crusade is burning once again. Controversy isn't far behind, and change is afoot around this humble little show. Welcome to episode 90 of the Unshackled Fury podcast, your uncensored home for World of Warcraft news and opinions. I am your host, Berzerker, and with me always is the Hulk to my macho. He is Navox. Welcome back again, sir.
I got a Yeti.
You got a
Yeti. Finally. I got a Yeti at the ready also.
You got a Yeti at the ready. You know what I have today? I
What's
want to thank our friend Hogeye out there on Twitter for hooking me up, or at least introducing me to Liquid Death.
Oh, what is that?
It's water in a can.
That's all it is water in a can?
It is.
That's awesome.
It is literally just water in a can, and it's all just an insane marketing scheme to get people to drink water.
Dude, I did the same thing though. Like I went out there and I bought the freaking magnetic cap for this thing so it fits on. You get 3 extra ounces and it's like,
but
oh,
it's
look
nice.
at that. The damn thing's. It is nice.
Listen, you get what you pay for with that Yeti stuff, and here we are. We're not
You
sponsored.
do.
We're not.
You do.
We're not. We're giving anything away here. It's just as human beings around in the world who need shit that works and takes care of stuff, like that Yeti gear is really good. Like it is.
It absolutely is.
It's expensive
Yes.
as fuck. Like the little tumblers and stuff for your drinks, I think those are really, really great in terms of both their use and their price, because it's the cheapest things that you can buy, but they work really well. It's the coolers and the bags that are like, $400, $500, $600, $700 for a cooler. Like you can get a Coleman cooler for like $30, and you get the same size in a Yeti, and it's like $600. And you're like, what am I getting for $600? If you got to travel and you need stuff to stay cold, it's going to be as cold or as hot as when you left the house. Like, for instance, I have the tumbler deal with the drinks. I put coffee in it going to a baseball game Saturday morning. I left it there for an hour. I opened up that top and I burned my tongue. It was still as hot as when I poured it out. Like, it's nuts. So anyway.
Yeah. My buddy said he went. He leaves on Friday usually and drives up to North Carolina to do mountain biking, and then he'll drive back on Monday. This is what he does every once in a while. But he has a Yeti cooler, and he fills his cooler up at the house on Friday evening, gets in the car and drives. He goes Sunday afternoon when we're all done, and there's still ice in the bucket. I was that's pretty good. So that's our Yeti sponsorship thing for the day. So
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeti and Liquid Death, brought to you by Unshackled Fury.
There we go.
If anybody listening from those brands feels like they want to throw down some gear, happy to give that out and pimp that out. So as I mentioned in the little intro there, we are going to have a bit of a format change around here. We mentioned that, we hinted at that in our Discord, which if you haven't joined our Discord, I encourage you to do so. It's not the most active. Like, we're not in there chatting 24/7 like some of these other channels. So if that's your vibe, try not to be disappointed. But I'll tell you this: when we do have conversation, I think it's pretty fun, and you and I are very responsive. If I could pat ourselves on the back. You say something, we will say something back to you. It's not like some of these other channels where you put something in and it's like a ghost town where it's like, where are these hosts? Is this just a name-only channel? Do these people care? Like, we care. I promise you. promise you we can.
Yeah, because I have the notifications on. I'm like, that's one of
the.
I have.
Yep.
I'm in a lot of Discord channels. I don't turn notifications on.
Nope.
That one I've got notifications on. So if somebody pings that group, I'm in there. I'm like, yep, I see it. I see you.
Yes.
So
if you're in there, thank you for being in there. We really do appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Appreciate all the comments that come forward in there. And if you're not, please join. Listen, you got nothing better to do. Come on, get in there. So as we mentioned, we are going to be doing a bit of a temporary format change. Part of that involves, I think, what we're all experiencing is this is the slog. This is the slog.
Oh yeah.
When we were at the end of Warlords of Draenor, I think there was a lot of commentary about, man, there's a big gap between things going on at the end of that expansion before we jump forward. Now we're like at the beginning of an expansion and it's taken a while. And, to be honest, I think the pandemic still has a toll to take when you look at lag time in terms of when all of this stuff needed to be worked on and how quickly something could have gotten out. I really do think that that's a lot of what this is, because I can't believe after speeding up the cycles after the last couple of expansions that they've now just decided, well, we're going to take 9 months between major patches like that. Ooh.
Oh my God.
That's too long. So we are going to be doing not a mini-sode kind of change, but episodes are definitely going to be shortening up for the interim. I don't think they're going to be going nearly as long as usual. Probably just going to start hitting a couple of the major news items and some commentary on that. But we're going to be kind of low power mode. I don't know if that's the right term for it either, but it's just going to be a little bit lighter than normal for a little while. Not permanent, but for a little while. The other part of that is that we will be going down just to me for a little while. Nav's going to be taking a little sabbatical, I think we call that.
Yeah.
So why don't you fill the folks in on that, because I have a feeling you're not alone in your part on this.
Yeah, no, it's basically when I listen to it's just I'm going to be taking a break from the game altogether. We discussed this outside the show, and I'll be happy to discuss it with you in the Discord channel too. It's just we're in a very long. The expansion's going longer than I expected, and it's just not that fun to log in. And what I'm doing every week is I'm logging in, I'm running my Torghast, and then I log in and I do raids. I don't do dailies anymore. I don't do the dungeons anymore. I'm not doing mythic dungeons, things like that. So the game to me is, and when it becomes it's an MMO. So you log in and you kind of expect you expect that, and the game is made for, if that's your thing, great. But I need something new every once in a while, and logging in, like my raid team's not even holding bosses anymore. Like we're not re-clearing bosses anymore on Mythic. We are holding lockouts to kill what's in front of us at this point, because it's not gear that's holding us back at this point. It's execution of the fights, because we were working on, we actually killed we killed Zymox, Artificer. We killed Artificer the other night, and now we're working on the dancing boss, the council fight. The dancing boss council fight. So that's what we're working on now, and I have a 6-month subscription. It is going to be up in June. At that point, I'm not going to renew my subscription. And then I'll probably be back at some point, but I'm just going to be taking a break. I'm playing some Xbox games. I got into playing Jedi Fallen Order.
Great
oh my
game.
God. Like I am behind, like I'm the behind gamer. Like I'm the one who jumps into these games after they've been out for a year or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, have you played this game? It's amazing. And everybody's like, yeah, we already played that. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, my son and I
good.
spent last summer basically clearing that whole game, and it was, that game is bananas. It's great.
I went over to my buddy's house because we're we've taken precautions, and we're vaccinated and my friends are vaccinated. So we're just like, we wanted to get together. We have safe families that we've been getting to throughout the pandemic. And this is one of our safe families. We trust these people. They're like family to us. And we know that they're kind of taking things the same way we were with things. So we're just like, you know what, let's get together. And so I went over there and he's playing I thought he was playing PlayStation, but he's actually playing it on the big screen TV. And I'm like, what is this game? He's like, oh, it's Jedi Fallen Order. You should pick it up. And I'm like, okay, I'll pick it up. And on May 4th, because it was Star Wars Day, Amazon had a deal with it. And I was like, I picked it up for $20, downloaded it, and I got into it and I played it. And I'm like, man, this game's really fun. And then it's funny because I kept typing to him back and forth. I'm like, man, fuck this game. This game is hard because I'm playing it on a little bit harder level. And I'm like, oh, wow, the game's amazing again. So it's like, it's going up and down. And then I finally learned the other night how to just lock on a target. And I'm like, okay, that just made this game so much easier. But I was like, usually I'm not really big into Star Wars games. This game's amazing. Like they did such a good job with making you feel like you're a Jedi and it's, if you like the storyline, and I don't know, I've been out of the Star Wars realm for a very long time, and then The Mandalorian pulled me back in, and then this game just pulled me back in, and I'm just like, I love Star Wars again. So it was nice, so I'm doing that, and I got tonight, actually, the MTV Music Awards. I'm not going to watch it for that, but they're going to premiere the Snake Eyes trailer, which I'm looking forward to.
Mr.
That
G.I.
one.
Joe fan.
Mr. G.I. Joe, yeah. Even though, look, I'm going to give it a shot because, the stories I grew up with the comic books and Marvel, these guys were old Vietnam vets, and I don't think that translates so well in this day and age, because those guys would be really old at this point. God love them. So they're and Snake Eyes has had several transitions over the course of the storyline. So I'm really looking forward to what the studio is going to do with this. If it's look, I don't expect much. I just expect a lot of ninja action and then Scarlet and Baroness, and I'm getting that. So.
Well, and there's your Star Wars G.I. Joe crossover, because I believe that Ray Park, who was Darth Maul, played Snake Eyes in one of the movies.
He did. Yep. There we go. There was that. Yep. And I forget who the new. Oh man, I forget the new guy who's playing Snake now. But I'm looking forward to it because he's a pretty big action star. So so I'm really looking forward to that trailer. But other than that, I've been trying to keep up to date on a lot of the stuff. I've been trying to keep up to date with all the WoW news coming out, and I am looking forward to the 9.5 stuff. It's just
9.5.
Or I'm sorry, what is it? What is
9.1?
The new one? 9.1. Yeah, whatever that one is. Yeah, there we go. 9.1.
I'm looking forward to 9.5 too, but God only knows.
There's so many leaks. There's so many leaks that are coming out and stuff, and it's just
brother.
Okay. It's driving. I think I'm getting tired of that kind of stuff too. But anyway. Yeah. I digress. But yeah, so I'm going to be taking a little bit of a break from the game. I do this. I go in cycles, and it's just, that's what it is. There's no, oh my God, where did Nav go? That's it. I'm just doing other stuff, getting ready to go back into the workforce next month. We cleaned my wife and I we cleaned my closet out today.
There you go.
I was a size before pandemic. Well, yeah, right before the pandemic hit, I was a size 50. And I am now a size 46. So
congrats.
Yeah, I'm actually almost I'm teetering on 44 at this point.
Congrats,
but
man.
I tried to put on this old stuff. I tried to put on these old clothes, and they're just like, they're like clown. I can't believe like they are just they fall off me. Like,
that's fantastic.
And it was ridiculous. So I had to get some new clothes. So I was pretty happy with that. But other than that, so if anybody out there needs a pair of size 50 jeans. Slightly farted in or something,
Well, congratulations, because I think that's something that a lot of people dream that they could have done during the pandemic, was made some kind of use of it, doing something something purposeful. I didn't do any of that shit. I weigh slightly less than what I did at the beginning of the pandemic, so I haven't done crap. But congratulations to you on that. And then
thank you.
We talk a lot on this show, and have for years, about how when you're feeling burnout, you've got to do what's right for you, and you're not beholden to anything related to any of this ever for the sake of, and forsaking your happiness in that cause, right? So, I'm proud of you. You're living the word, right? And hopefully people won't jump off and be like, well, shit, I only listened to this show because of Navox anyway. I promise. I swear, I'll keep it interesting.
Yeah, no.
But this is important stuff, that we talk about, and you're living that. And for me, I'm kind of having, I'm having the opposite problem where I'm not getting enough opportunities to log in. Like that's, I'm dying to get in, and because I've got Torghast I need to run, I've got a new legendary I need to build, like I've got shit I've got to do, and I have just not had enough time to take care of all the stuff that I've needed to take care of. So, it's kind of funny. We're two sides of the same coin almost in a way, where it's like, we're not getting time in for one reason or another.
Yeah.
And, a lot of people I think are experiencing that, right? Where
oh, absolutely,
people are unhappy about not just the length of the development cycles, but what is done during those times. Where, things that people are complaining about, in the 0.1 to the 0.05 patch, stuff doesn't get changed till like the 0.3 patch or wherever later, and you're like, why did this take so long when it seemed like an obvious choice to the player base? And we don't have insight right into their development, right? Like we have no idea what their pipeline looks like, how a change gets made, what the determination is, who the management teams are that decide these things. So it very well could take a lot longer than we think it does to do certain things. But that is a complaint that I have seen cited many times, and I do think that also contributes to the burnout, where when certain people, let's say, feel upset about that, and then they go out to their YouTube channels or other places, and they say shit about it, and then some, in varying degrees of hostility, and then that puts a latch into certain portions of the player base who repeat it ad nauseum. Then that's how things become overblown to some extent. I think there's truth in some of this, but at the same time, again, the hostility that I see over some of these things, I don't think is great, and it adds to that burnout, right? Where people are like, man, it's like everybody's shitting on this. Why am I going to do this? Like, for instance, and I know people are tired of me talking about this, and I promise I'll keep it brief. I've had a lot of fun playing Cyberpunk, but people are just everywhere. Oh, it's a shit game. It's a trash game. No one should play it. And I'm like, well, I've played it quite a bit over the last, 6 months or however long it's been out, whatever. And honestly, my experience was great. Now, I've got a graphics card that's like a fucking unicorn, but
no, it really is.
It was, I've had fun. And when you see people just continually shitting on the stuff that you think is fun, it's hard to keep that love and that fervor for something, because you're like, man, this just feels bad. So
I've actually went out there on Twitter and I mean, not that these people would know because they don't know who I am, but I went out there like just unfollowed people that did that this week. Like you get so tired of looking at this game is bad because of the, shut up. I like that game a lot. So I'm tired of hearing your negative views on this game. I liked it, it is what it is. So I get that, and yeah.
So for the time being, this will be Nav's last show with us for a bit. But I promise we'll be going back to, I guess, our classic mode of just me saying a bunch of crazy shit on here by myself.
Heck
and
yeah.
God only knows what kind of trouble I'll get into doing
That's what got me listening anyway to begin with. It was a good show to begin with.
What?
Before I even got here, it was an amazing show. So
appreciate that. Well, I'll try to keep up those high standards. So that's your update for us. Things will look a little bit different for a little while going forward, but promise to bring you the same great level of enthusiastic, tongue-in-cheek raging that we always have, and hopefully you'll keep listening and tell your friends. So on to our news, where there's actually some pretty big news to share. So let's go. So after what seemed like a briefer development cycle than I certainly thought was going to be in play, and after a date kind of got accidentally leaked, the Burning Crusade Classic has officially been announced, and it is going live. The full expansion for Classic is going live on June 1st.
Yeah.
Right around the corner. You believe that?
Yep.
My God. I thought this was going to take at least a little while longer, but I guess maybe they have more complete records of those days. Unlike Classic, where it felt like they were having to kind of cobble stuff together.
Yeah.
So maybe it was a little bit easier this time around. But
they found a hard drive somewhere sitting on it. Oh, look what I found. Oh, thank God you stored this, you hoarder.
Back under a pile of like dead cats and newspapers, they find like this hard drive that's got the master code. That's that's what they needed. So yeah, it's Burning Crusade Classic coming out June 1st, and they have a map up if you want to see. It looks like it's going live at 3 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time on the West Coast of the United States. So kind of plan your releases from there. On that, Nav, I wasn't yet a player when Burning Crusade launched. So I came in, I think, about a month or two after the original Burning Crusade launched. Now, with this, the big thing with all of these classic servers, right, is nostalgia. It's the fucking nostalgia bomb.
Oh, of course.
Like, I remember those days, and they were so great. Well, let's pitch it to you then. As somebody who was around and playing, what was your launch experience like with the original Burning Crusade?
Yeah, that was actually pretty exciting because that was our first expansion ever. So I mean, it was I remember going to work, and then I got off work early to come home because if I recall correctly, we did have a nighttime expansion. I think it was released in the evening. If I recall.
I remember they all used to go at midnight for us. So it was midnight West Coast, right? So
that might have been it. Because that was the first expansion where we got was it? No, that wasn't the Death Knight expansion, was it?
No, this was Death Knights was Wrath. This was the Blood Elves and the Draenei.
That's it, the Blood Elves and the Draenei. That's it. So I was playing a rogue at the time. I do remember that. And I was also playing Horde at the time. It was pretty exciting going into that, the first zone there and having the Void Walker running around and all that kind of stuff. And to this day, I think Terakar Forest is still one of my favorite zones. You got Terakar Forest, and then Nagrand. Nagrand is also up there. So, I don't know. I actually do have a lot of good memories for that because that was also the time when I leveled the Druid too because I had a lot of fun playing the Druid during that expansion. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, it was a fun launch experience, just like the other ones that came out. But I mean, it was the first one, so it was you're always excited for that first one that comes out. I mean, you're excited for all of them, but
Well, now when you came in, if I recall correctly, was there server stability issues? Like, was there overcrowding? Were you able to get through easy? Yeah, what was that like?
I was able to log in and play, so we actually didn't have that because we were a PvP server and we weren't linked to anything. So I was on Skull Crusher. So when we logged in and played, we were just able to, get it in level. And what was nice, nobody was really interested in doing the player versus player, especially on the PvP server, because everyone was just more interested in zoning and doing the thing. It wasn't, I know a lot of people had bad experiences on PvP servers. It wasn't all that bad for me. To admit it, of course, playing a rogue, it wasn't that bad because you just run around and stealth or vanish. It's like so, and then you'd always make people nervous because there's like, oh, there's probably more than one rogue around. Maybe I don't want to mess with this thing. So it's so. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I didn't have the bad server stability that sometimes we get with these expansions, Mists. And the other ones that came out, there was always some sort of balancing act with that.
Yeah, I remember with Warlords there was like a DDoS attack, but what I recall specifically with respect to this was that there was, although I wasn't there to experience it, I remember the problem being is that Hellfire Peninsula was like a singular choke point where everybody came in that way. And that's why
everybody had to come in.
And that's why in Wrath, you could either go to Borean Tundra or Howling Fjord. They had two places to try to split the player base, so that way there wasn't too much overcrowding in one place or another. So I've always kind of pictured it in my mind's eye as this just overrun, like people slamming the portal and just like just running out there and causing all kinds of havoc. So
no, that's funny you say that, because thinking back to Wrath, I think I've only on the Horde side I did Borean Tundra. On the Alliance side, I always went to Howling Fjord. I love that environment. I love the zone and the music and all that. I think to this day I would still go that route. You know, it's like, so.
Me too. Even though the Statue of Varian is over in Borean Tundra. But, so we've got that coming on June 1st. But before that, in just a matter of days, or it could be hours depending on when this episode launches here, we have a pre-patch, which is customary for every expansion. We have a pre-patch coming on May 18th, and what this pre-patch is going to cover is the stuff that it seems like a normal pre-patch would cover. You're getting your new races, the Draenei and the Blood Elves, and the combinations of classes that they could be. So you're getting an opportunity to get into some of those new places, level up your characters, all that kind of stuff. So that is happening on May 18th, and it'll give you about 2 weeks to get stuff in order if you want. On top of that, one of the things that they are offering are these deluxe editions. So everything is kind of digital now, right? So you don't get there's no box that I've seen or anything like that. But there are these digital packages that they're offering, and part of this is or I should say is that this is part of the overall controversy that is happening right now with these announcements, because one, although it's great that they're having a pre-patch and things are happening, before June 1st, there's a loud complaint, let's say, being made about the fact that you only have 2 weeks to level a character if you want to have it ready in time for the expansion. So like if you wanted a Draenei or a Blood Elf, I suppose that's a pretty short runway. Otherwise, if you're a classic player, like if you're really into it, I feel like if that's your jam, you have a level 60 by now, or you have a couple level 60s.
Oh, of course.
You have tunes that are ready to run June 1st, and 2 weeks is enough time to kind of get you situated and figure out what you're going to do or whatever. So I'm not really sure that there's a huge impact here, but I will admit I'm not a classic player, so maybe there's more of an impact on this than I think. So that's kind of one part of that sort of pre-patch time frame. Do you think that that's a fair complaint? Is that not enough time, or is this just looking for a reason?
No, I think that's plenty of time. I mean, these people know what they're doing. I mean, it's plus, they're. What amazes me is that they're going to be able to. You don't even have to take your character over there. You're gonna. I think most of people are going to be paid to have that service for their account to copy their character into Burning Crusade, not actually take it over to Burning Crusade.
And that I think is also part of the controversy,
because
is the cost of depending on what you want to do and how that's working. So go keep
you have to make that choice. Like, you have to figure out, like, listen, I feel like, okay, so if I want to stay in adventure in classic, that's cool. You can do that, or you can. What is it? You can pay to copy your character to Burning Crusade, or you can just move your character to Burning Crusade, right? Isn't that right? Those are the two things.
You have to make a choice.
I think the majority of people are going to pay for that, and I think that's probably why they're pissed off.
To have one of each.
I mean, yeah.
Because essentially, would have two characters.
Yep, and one's locked into playing classic. So what? And this is where it gets a little confusing to me, because now. You know what? It doesn't need to be confusing to me because it's not my cup of tea. If that's your cup of tea, that's great. You know, I'm glad that Blizzard is offering all of these options for you to stay in that time period. But, you know, because you would migrate your character to Burning Crusade and then you'd still have access to all the old stuff too. So it's like, and now, but your character, you know, if you want to go raid Molten Core, you know, Anixi and all that for the rest of your life, there you go. You just pay to have your character copied over. It's, I don't know. Man, I can't. I'm one of those people. I'm not shy to say I love all the quality of life things that we've gotten throughout the year. So I am. Hey, do you want to come? Hey, you should totally re-roll play Classic. No, thank you. No, thanks. I did that. You know, it's
fun to see, but man,
it's fun to see. I don't want to live there.
No.
You know, it's
I can't do it. There's no way.
I can't.
But I will say is like to the point of what they're trying to do here, right? Is like, let's say, and this is very much again going back to nostalgia is the reason that this happens. This is not happening because there's some great business need. As cynical as some people can be, I don't think that they did all of this because people are like, wow, we need another way to milk people out of money. Well, I can play this with the same sub, so that I don't.
Right.
I don't see that
exactly.
is a valid reason. It's born completely out of nostalgia. Well, for some of us, BC was the game when we first came in. So I could see where, and it is a little cost prohibitive, and for some it's very cost prohibitive to be able to do some of these things where, and I don't have the price right in front of me, but I know that the cost for these digital packages, it's like $60 or something like it's not insignificant. But to be able to purchase like a character boost, because I don't want to have to go through the slog of vanilla, that I can just get a character and run through the portal. That if I want to pay for that and have my nostalgia bomb, then I can do that, right? And so I don't have a problem with that. I think that they gate the cost because they're trying to get people to play the content. They don't want to make it too easy for too many people, and that is a business decision. And
well, there's server infrastructure. There's stuff that they have to maintain the stuff.
Yeah,
they're not going to give it to you. I know you got the discs sitting in your cabinet. I have the discs here for Burning Crusade, and I saw that argument. They're like, I already bought these things, and I'm like, yeah, but you know, it's all digital download. You have to download Burning Crusade now.
And I'm sure that there's some way that they've costed this out. Like we have to do so many. But to the point of what is interesting about this in terms of how do they calculate these costs is that originally the cost to duplicate your character was $35, and people were like, "Ooh, that's too high." Like that seems like why? And there was a post that was just recently put out where they said, you know, when we looked at this, we were trying to keep it comparable to other services essentially, but based on feedback, we're going to drop it down to $15, which I think is pretty reasonable to essentially have like, you know, a second character copied over to something else. You know, I
especially if you've got the group that's just wanting to, like I said, raid Molten Core the rest of their lives, or a Nixie or something, or that's where they roll. There's probably role playing guilds out there that's what they do. They just that's it, and they're happy doing that.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
Who am I to say that's dumb? If that's what you're enjoying, great.
Yep. So, if you do purchase one of these, there's the Dark Portal Pass and there's the Deluxe Edition. I think there's two different ones here. You will be able to use character boosts, but not on a Blood Elf or Draenei. So
good.
You'll be able
level them up.
You'll be stuck in there. So eat shit.
We had to level them up back in the day.
Yeah,
uphill while it was snowing and raining.
But if you choose there's the Dark Portal Pass. If you just choose that, you'll get Apprentice Riding Skill, Race Specific Mount, Weapon Skills leveled up to 58, access to certain flight paths, a set of level 58 green gear, you'll get some Rune Cloth bags, and you'll get some gold. If you decide to go with the Dark Portal Pass, which is like, you know, the Cadillac plan, you get a Reawakened Phase Hunter mount. Boy, that's a lot of words. That
looks cool.
A fancy mount, which is cool. You get the Viridian Phase Hunter mount, which is another cool thing. You'll get a Dark Portal Hearthstone, which, if you recall, was I think a trading card game. item that you could have gotten back in the day, because I'm pretty sure I've seen those. The Path of Illidan toy, which I think was also from the cards, which makes you leave little Fellfire footprints as you walk. And I still have some of those from way back in the day, which is kind of
cool.
Fun. You'll get all the stuff from the Dark Portal Pass, including your level 58 character boost, and you'll get 30 days of game time. So it's a lot of words to say. If you want some fancier stuff, you can pay for it. But overall, the point is that Burning Crusade is back once again. If you want to experience it like it was back in the day, and you got to decide Aldor or Scryers, and what are you doing with your spec. I know for me, I didn't know about Bloodthirst for a long ass time, and I thought I could raid as a PvP spec, a 3130 warrior. Woo! That does not work, folks. Fist weapons for Fury all the way. So better get your fucking crafting up.
And then you're gonna have to discuss with your guild honestly, it's never too early to sit down and figure out who's going to get the Blades of Azeroth now. Like you need to sit down and have that heart to heart with your guild and figure it out. So
serious conversation. So all of that is hitting starting this week with May 18th and the pre-patch with the Burning Crusade live on June 1st. Classic going live on June 1st. So for all those that enjoy that, good luck, have fun, enjoy that nostalgia bomb on your own. I don't know that I'm yet going to be dropping cash to get into that when I don't even have time to get into the stuff I want to get into now, but you never know. You never know what I might do, because nostalgia's a bitch, and sometimes you just need an escape, man. So we'll see. On to something a little more current in terms of the timeline and whatnot. We did actually get an official preview of something for patch 9.1. As you mentioned, we've had a lot of leaks and data mining and all that kind of stuff. And listen, there's plenty of other shows that talk about it. And if that's your jam, I encourage you to listen to them too, because I continue to hold on to this hope that I can play things out in real time and just try to be surprised or whatever, and not jaded or bored by the time something comes. Like, think about all the stuff that was data mined months ago, and we're still not going to see it for several more months. People are going to be like,
oh, I know,
that's old shit, and it's brand new, right? So I'm continuing to go along just with official posts. I know that there's some pretty wild shit that's already been seen out there, and I have avoided 99% of it. So that's why I try to do my best here to play it out in real time. So the first thing that we got here was Shadowlands take a day trip to Tazavesh, the Veiled Market, which is going to be our new 8-boss mythic mega dungeon.
Yep.
So for those of you that remember, in the last expansion, we had another mega dungeon, which was over there on the Mechanome... Mechagon deal with the Mechanomes, and it seemed to be pretty popular. I ran it a couple times. It was big. It was interesting. Lots of stuff going on. It's like it is a weird sweet spot between a raid and a dungeon. So mega dungeon. All right, mega dungeon. That's what we're going for. So we've had our first official preview of this. It is the brokers that we see in Ouroboros. This is like their intergalactic market. I don't know of any other way really to say it in normal terms, but they call it it's a bazaar of mysterious brokers where you're going to be facing off against assassins and guards, and there's that infinite pirate dragon that people keep talking about, and so they've given us a bit of a not a dungeon guide, but a sort of a primer on who we're going to meet and what's going to be going on. There's going to be some quests to get access to this, which, listen, I appreciate a little story. It's just like
sure.
It's like some people just want to get to the meat of it. Like, I think this has a lot to do with porn tastes. Like, sometimes people just want to get right to the action and just bang it out, where I'm like, I like a story. I want to know, like, what is this pizza guy's motivation? Like, what is going on in there? Or, why are you trying to fix that sink? Like, I want to know, like, how did you end up at that pool party? Like, I want the story, right? And so this is a great thing, I think, for us, where we get a little bit of a story. We're not just jumping into the dungeon. And so you'll have to play out some quests in order to get access. And it's through Ouroboros, as you might have imagined. And once you get access, you're going to be facing a few interesting characters. I think eight total, as we've mentioned. But there's a guard just to get into the place. There's a menagerie where there's all kinds of crazy stuff that's been collected. There's a mail room. You're going to have to get involved in a mail room where things have gone nutty. There's some kind of bar. They're calling it an oasis, which sounds like it might be a nice place to hang out. And then there's an assassin that we've got to fight. And then from there, it starts to get pretty interesting, where the last handful of bosses here that they talk about, one is called Heilbrand, which is this entity that has been left to guard an ancient Titan artifact, which has been stolen. And now this guard is awake. And we have to dismantle some sort of security protocols in order to get past this boss, which then takes us to the Infinite Pirate Dragon, which has a name, Time Cap'n Hooktail. So we're getting a couple things in here. And this is the Infinite Pirate Dragon that is mad because some prize was stolen, and this pirate queen is going nuts. And it looks like in this preview picture that we're fighting her outside of Borealis, which is I don't know. I guess we're doing some timey-wimey business here and jumping around. And then at the very end is Solea, who appears to be a broker that has stolen something that they didn't quite understand what they were stealing, and now it's being transformed by energy. And it reminds me kind of the final boss that we had to face in the raid in Legion with shit. My memory is going so bad now. What was the planet that we went to? And the Titan dude at the end.
Argus.
Planet
Argus. Jesus. There we go. All right. So,
so reminds me kind of Argus. That's it. That's the one. Just in terms of kind of the aesthetic that they're going for here. And the description they have is, Solea's thirst for power culminates in this final battle, unleashing a force she does not fully understand. The cartel boss is transformed into a creature of unbridled ferocity. As rampant energy spills from the artifact, Solea must be stopped before her actions tear down Tazavesh's foundations. It looks like there's like a big portal and some energy stuff going on. Like it looks like there's an interesting bunch of lore shit going on here. Like, to me, I'm looking at this because we've had some questions about the brokers and kind of what their role is here. And does Ouroboros have some other purpose, or will it be repurposed into a raid at some point? And so there's definitely more to these brokers and the cartel, and they kind of remind me, we might have talked about this before, like the Ferengi, Deep Space Nine.
Yes.
Like, I think a lot about like Quark and all the stuff going on with them, and it's very reminiscent of that in my mind. So very curious to see that. But taking a look at this and thinking back to Mechagon, what do you think about the mega dungeon concept? Do you think that this serves a good in-between purpose, or should they have scaled it up or scaled it down to fit within the raid or regular dungeon sort of mold?
So I'm of the opinion that I actually do like bigger mega dungeons that you can do with just 5 players if you're getting some good loot out of it, and it's a lot of fun. This is it's an off raid night type thing to do. It's an off raid night activity. You get a group of people to go in on Wednesday or Saturday night or Friday night, and just you go in, you enjoy it, take a break when you need to take a break, and keep going again. I like the smaller I don't know, I do like the dungeon 5-mans, so I'm okay with something like this. This does look interesting. So I'm sure that there will be some sort of quest that forces me to go through this. Absolutely, you're gonna have to do it at some point. Yeah. So I look forward to seeing that. But Nev, in my mind, if we're gonna have a mega dungeon, how can they have a mega dungeon without the mega powers? What?
Because most people don't remember way back in the day when Hulk and Macho,
oh my God,
were the mega powers. So somewhere we need a Hulk Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage Mega Powers reference somewhere.
Yeah.
That's the only way this can work. Long term, anyway. So that's your sort of official preview, one of the few that we've had so far of patch 9.1. There's been other interviews out there, and then some follow-up comments from other YouTubers and some other folks. So they're not, I don't think, really giving away a whole lot right now. You know, some updates about Torghast might have more transmog stuff, and we're looking at balancing and some of those kinds of things. But so far, nothing I consider too earth-shattering, or at least enough to bring up on this show. So that's your most recent sort of official patch 9.1 update, and look forward to more of those as they come in. We still probably got a couple months until all of this goes live, so we'll keep an eye on it, and we'll keep going forward. We had a question in our Discord recently about our thoughts on when we looked at Legion. Right, Legion was a class-focused fantasy-focused expansion where we had class halls and artifacts and stuff like that. What would it look like if we had potentially down the line a more of a race focused one, where I imagine it would be, you know, everybody kind of heading back to their capital cities kind of thing, and like those turn back into major hubs? Do you think that would be something that people would find interesting, or something that they could do down the line?
Sure, I'm not going to leave anything off the table that would be interesting or not. I mean, sure, I could see that. I mean, the humans are human. So
anything that gets me closer to getting Varian's armor as a possibility. That's all I mean.
Yeah, we got close in the last expansion, but you know, still not quite there. But
a recovered Charlemagne.
Yeah, something. Yeah.
Yeah, when this question got posed, the thing that I thought about was not so much a race fantasy expansion as much as perhaps and this is also kind of I have to be careful about this comment because I don't want it to be misconstrued. A sort of religion based expansion, and what I mean by that is there was a comment that Syl had made when we had her on here about what's interesting about Shadowlands is that there are very few references to all of the various sort of religions that we have in World of Warcraft, and it would be interesting to see if they delved a little bit more into that, where instead of following like a particular class or a particular faction the classic way that we've done it, maybe there's more of, you know, we're going to follow what's going on with the light, or we're going to follow what's going on with the Loa, or we're going to follow what's going on with the Earth Mother. You know, there's all of these other things that could be kind of expanded upon to create, you know, those little clusters as sort of a branch off of Shadowlands. And I could very well see something like that, where each one of them has a specific calling that we're trying to answer to or help them out with.
You know, and it's still driving me nuts that we left Azeroth in the condition that we left it in, with, again, the big ass freaking sword sticking out,
still there,
and a half dead planet. It's still there. That story is still there, and now we're just farting around in the Shadowlands, which, incidentally, it's kind of funny because I should have mentioned this ahead of time. When you play Fallen Order, you don't get to escape Shadowlands because it's in that game too.
That's right.
So, but anyway, I digress. Yeah. So, I mean,
looking down looking down the line, you know, it's tough to see where we could go based on some of the really mysterious shit that's been said to us. And I've seen some spoilers, and I want to share them, and I'm not going to do it because you haven't seen them. So it's like I went out there and I've read it, and I'm like, oh, I could talk. I'm like, nope, can't talk about that because it was a you know, data mined spoiler. Yeah.
So
subject to change.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I could see where perhaps we have a class fantasy based expansion again because it was so well received, and you know, maybe they go back to that as a way of like, hey, this was really good, let's do that again. And there's some more lore that we found and some other things. I mean, they really went all out for that, and I feel like they kind of blew their load all at once.
I feel like we got that with Mop though too, because they introduced the pandas, the Pandaren, and then we got kind of focused on the orcs with Gary and his reign of power. So
and Wrath was kind of the human one, and so they kind of knock them off one by one. It seems like but we've had like 10 orc ones, I swear by now. So much thrall, so much Green Jesus for life. Interesting question. Appreciate that from Dead. Who's dead in our Discord. Appreciate that question, and again, please jump in there. Ask us anything you like. We usually ask for anything people want us to address on the show, and that was a great question or a great topic. So thank you for that. Last item before we jump out here, I wanted to mention real quick that there was a recent earnings report for Activision Blizzard. As you longtime listeners know, we try to keep an eye on what's going on with the company. For those of you new to the show, perhaps, essentially this began for us when Blizzard had their layoffs a couple of years ago, when their stock was tanking and it seemed like things were going pretty south. Started to keep an eye on what was going on financially. It's a little tough because I think for most people, business doesn't jive with what we want as gamers a lot of the time, because we're focused on what we want from a game and this and that, and there are dollars and cents that need to be accounted for, and at the end of the day, it's shareholders who are going to well overrule anything that we want, as much as we don't like that reality. So we've been keeping an eye on this. One thing of note is that I did see that Bobby Kotick, who is the lord over Activision Blizzard, has cut his salary. I
saw that.
Like by half. So it's, he's still getting $100 million or whatever it is a year or something like that. But it's a long time complaint that many people have had. It's like, you can't be laying off folks and saying that you're having a banner year, and paying your executives multi-hundreds of millions of dollars like that. Just,
oh my God.
That's bad. So he took a pay cut. Congratulations. You did the bare minimum, but you did it. Fantastic. So as far as the most recent earnings report, Activision Blizzard continues to do well is the bottom line. Their stock price as of today is $93 a share. It's kind of been hovering in that 90s range for a while now. But that's far above the 40 that it was when we first started taking a look at this. So if you got in when we started watching this, boy, you're happy about it now. Shareholders, I'm sure, are happy.
Heck yeah.
But taking a look at this, WoW continues to be a huge moneymaker for the company. Expansions continue to be a big source of income. They mentioned that Warcraft, has helped contribute to their continued growth. That they are continuing to add to the team, and they're working on mobile titles, and player engagement remains high. Although sub numbers, although they don't give them to us, I'm pretty sure there's an indication here that sub numbers are declining as the year is going on, which we would expect normally through the boom and bust of an expansion cycle. However, as Nav, you've talked about already today, it's getting a little long in the tooth at this stage in the game, and people are going to bail out until it's time for something significantly new, or at least there's something significant to do. Right. Yeah,
and also add to that, we've been cooped up in the house for well over a year. People are wanting to, get out again and start being outside. I mean, Shadowlands was a welcome escape when it was launched, because we were stuck in the house. I mean, we weren't doing anything, so it was nice. So it was, but people want to get back out. We're getting to summertime. The weather is getting beautiful. People want to be outside. It is what it is.
Yep. Yeah, and they mentioned too, not just that Shadowlands had done well, but they're also looking forward to see what Burning Crusade Classic does on the Blizzard side. But that's again, for Blizzard proper, that's really kind of it right now, because none of the Diablos are out yet, because there's various Diablo games in the works, right? They mentioned that.
So long?
Well, they've mentioned that the Immortal game should be out sometime this year, which, okay, that'll be welcome. But Diablo 4, Diablo 2 Resurrected, we're still waiting on those. There's Overwatch 2. Jeff Kaplan's now gone, as we talked about last time, and they're still working on it, but we don't really have a idea of, okay, when are we gonna get this evolved game, because it's not, they're saying it's not a sequel, it's the same, I don't know, somewhere in between. Hearthstone still pumping out stuff, so that's good, but I don't know, I don't see it the same as what I was considered to be the big three. One of them's completely dead. StarCraft is just completely dead.
That's fucking sad too, that StarCraft is just dead.
Yeah,
because it was such a good, the first StarCraft game, and we're not going to go off on a tangent on this. It was a good game. Yep. So I don't know why it just got dropped. RTS still has a thing, and it just,
Hopefully there's a secret project. That's all I'm going to say.
It would be nice, especially with, the graphics, what they did with Heroes of the Storm. Yep. They did all these updated graphics. You could have absolutely done with StarCraft,
Yep. We'll see. So, yeah. Overall, health of the company continues to improve. Now, does that come at the cost of some other things? Probably. But we'll see how that goes, and we'll keep an eye on it. So, I think that will do it for this episode. Other than this fine program, where can the good people find you on the internet, Navox?
You will be able to find me out there on my Twitter at NAV_OX.
As for me, you can always find me on Twitter at Berzerker Rage, and this show at Unshackled_Fury. Feel free to contact the show with your questions, comments, or otherwise by going to unshackledfury.com, and you can find this show wherever you get your podcasts. So once again, thank you for listening. Remember to keep your swords wet and your banners high. We'll see you next time. Farewell.